Broadcasting live from the Drownyard Temple on the plain of Innistrad, this is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome everybody to Tap Tap Concede. Shadows over Innistrad, yay!
Yay!
We're so excited. Graham here.
James here.
Cameron here.
And we're going to talk about the pre-release that we did. The pre-release.
Pre-release because we're not really going to the pre-release this weekend. Well, some of us are, but not all of us are. So the regular come back directly afterwards and record a podcast wasn't on the table this time around, which makes me even happier that we were able to do the pre-release.
Yeah, I didn't even realize.
Because that's actually just going to be my pre-release experience for the set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're filming all day Saturday, and then Sunday is WrestleMania, and I have to go see WrestleMania. I'm not going to see. I wish I was seeing it live, but no.
Heading off to Texas.
Yeah. Goodbye. Sorry, we were talking about the Drownyard Temple, the flavor text. This is it. All the cryptoliths point here, and it's like, yeah. Also, there's a big glowing circle of cryptoliths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the hot take, Jace.
Yeah, you'd think he could have been like, what's this cryptolith? And literally any person in Innistrad would have been like, oh, that? I don't know, but there's a big circle with them right over there.
Yeah, you should go check it out.
It's glowing. You can see it at night.
Yeah.
But before we talk about the pre-release, let's open a pack of Shadows over Innistrad.
Oh my god.
Woo! Can't open. There we go. All right.
All right.
Oh, we're starting off strong. It's a captain's blessing. It's a single white.
Chaplain's blessing.
Chaplain's blessing. It's a single white mana sorcery.
Slam it. First pick.
You gain 5 life.
Imagine if you played like 5 of these.
Well, you'd basically be unkillable. You've broken the metagame.
Exactly.
This card's not very good.
It would be better if it was instant. I think it would be
That would be accurate, yes.
That would be better.
Yeah.
It's
right.
not
Next.
good, though. All right.
If it also did 5 damage.
Yeah, that's true.
Niblis of Dusk.
Niblets.
I like this guy.
This guy seems fine.
2 and a blue for a 2/1 spirit with flying and prowess.
Yeah.
This guy was fine when he was in cons as a bird monk.
As a which one?
There was the bird in Cons of Tarkir that was the same thing. A 2/1 for 3 with prowess.
Oh, yeah. Why don't I remember that?
We need a new rule here on Tap Tap Concede where if you don't know the name of the card specifically, you should not talk about it.
That comes up a lot.
Yeah.
We did that.
Jeskai Windscout?
That could be it.
That sounds like a card.
Yeah.
I believe it. Jeskai Windscout. Let's find out together. There was
Show me Jeskai Windscout.
on last week's podcast with Marshall and Kenji, we were trying to figure out a card from Unglued. And
God.
None of us could remember the name, and Ian couldn't find it, and it was awkward. Anyway, yeah, Niblets is great. Though that can't really be. There's other.
Hey,
In your face, Turner.
Oh yeah.
But didn't you say it was white?
No, I said it was
Oh,
blue.
I remember.
It is. It's exactly the same
Yeah,
card.
it's the
You're
same
right.
card. I thought you said blue or white.
I'm on board. Except spirits are relevant in Innistrad, so
Yep.
that's cool.
Yep.
Unruly Mob, back again. I was actually really pleased to see that they reprinted Unruly Mob.
Is it like one of 3 reprints
I think
from the
so.
original?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So
I always like these guys.
Unruly Mob is a 1/1 for 1 and a white, and whenever another creature, it's a human, whenever another creature you control dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on Unruly Mob.
I so want to put together a sealed or a limited deck with these guys and Reaper of the Flight Moonsilver and Pious Evangel and Devil tokens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, the devil tokens are sweet.
And let's be happy.
I mean, again, the problem with this dude, he gets big, but he doesn't really get through.
No.
Like, I mean, he's just a big dumb dork at some point.
It's a donkey.
I like them.
Which is
Donkeys are
fine.
useful.
Yep.
Speaking of donkeys, Stallion of Ashmouth, 3/3 Nightmare Horse
Yep.
for 3 and a black, and that's it. But if you have Delirium, then you can pay 1 and a black to give it +1/+1 until end of turn.
This card seems fine.
Nightmare Horse.
Obviously, I still have no idea. From my limited play experience, Delirium is hard to get if you aren't trying to get it.
Yeah, but
really
if
gotta
you are
go.
trying to
If
get
you're
it,
trying to get it, it's doable.
very possible.
And black is a good color, obviously, to try it in. I think, I don't know if it's going to be in this pack, but Deadweight. Man, Deadweight's going to be great because it's removal and it's an enchantment. Because getting that 4th card is always the tricky part.
The vessels, I think, will be helpful too, because there's a cycle of enchantments that you crack.
sack.
and you sack
They're
them.
just not very good.
They're not great. Some of them
So-
are better than others.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you play a 3/3 for 4?
Yes. I would play this as a creature in my black deck.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
it's
Without the
fine.
delirium clause, is
Not-
it playable? It's not exciting.
It's not
It's not
exciting.
great.
It's just
No.
it's
It's a gray ogre.
it's a filler card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Nightmare horse. Cam, this is
I was actually just looking.
Uh-huh.
In 10th edition, it was a nightmare.
Ah.
It only became a horse in M10, the next edition.
interesting. I think there's a couple nightmare horses in this because there's also the ghoul steed.
Is that a nightmare horse though?
I don't know why it would. It could be a zombie horse.
I would have assumed it'd be a zombie horse, but nightmare horse just sounds way better. It is a zombie horse. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
All right.
Next up is a friend of Cam's, I think, Pyrehound.
Oh, yeah.
So 2/3 with trample for 3 and a red. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, put a +1/+1 counter on it.
I like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
seems fine.
I like
both of those things.
I like when you see something with small stats that has trample, and you're like, why does that have trample? And then you read the rest of the card. You take a second to just read the rest of the card before making assumptions.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh, this is going to be pretty sweet. Also, that guy's huge and terrifying. Might Beyond Reason is next, which is literally hulking out of his clothes there. 3 and a green for an instant. You put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. But if you have Delirium, you can put 3 +1/+1 counters on that creature instead.
It's okay. I don't think it's amazing.
I
but-
would just like to point out that 2 +1/+1 counters is in no way beyond reason.
No.
Yeah, no, that's very reasonable.
That's might within reasonable parameters.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. The
Ain't no travel prep.
travel preparations is so good.
This ain't
So-
no travel prep.
They've been doing this recently. I think Cons was the first one, which is like 4 mana for 2 counters, broadly speaking.
Yeah.
In Cons, there was, I think it was Dragon Scale Boon, which was 2 counters and you untap. And then in Battle for Zendikar, it was Infuse with Elements, which gained Trample, and it had Converge, but typically it was only going to be 2. And again, it was 3 and a green, right? Converge +2/+2.
Yep.
And against Trample. And I don't like them.
No.
No, they're-
I don't think any of these cards are very good.
No.
I think they're all pretty bad.
I like counters over just a buff until end of turn, but I don't like this as a direction for green combat tricks.
I did get people with Dragon Scale Boon.
Yeah, the untap was way better than, because like infuse you want with trample that only matters if you're attacking.
Yeah.
and you typically it's tricky to get someone with it.
Yep.
But anyway, how about these guys? Rancid Rats.
These guys are great.
Yep.
1/1 for 1 and a black with Death Touch. So they're like Typhoid Rats, but they cost 1 more. But they also have Skulk,
Yeah.
which means they can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. So they can do the same thing of Typhoid Rats where they just sit back and block
Hold off, basically,
your opponent's
anything.
biggest thing because
Yeah.
they didn't want to trade for it.
Yep.
But the problem you had there is that if you had the rats and you wanted to attack with them, they would just be like, oh, okay, well, here's my 1/1, whatever, I block you. But
Yep.
this can actually just sort of needle in for more damage.
Well, unless they have a 1/1.
Yeah, exactly. That was a bad example I gave. Thank you for catching me on that.
Hey, no problem. I'm always here to naysay. And
The point is, they're not gonna block with their best creature,
Yeah.
so you may as well
Oh,
get
yeah.
in for some damage.
Yeah.
Also, terrifying flavor text.
That's actually an interesting point, though, with these guys, is that the Skulk plus Death Touch is kind of a non-bow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because anything that can block it would probably be dead anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is more of a flavor inclusion on this card.
Yeah. But here's a good way to take care of them. John Woo style. Dual shot. Single red mana, instant. Deals 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. I think this is going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah. There's a lot of 1 toughness in this
Well,
format.
the rats we just saw, the Niblis.
Yeah.
Bless.
Taking out a 2/1 flyer, a 3 mana 2/1 flyer, with half of this card.
There's
is very good.
there's that 4/1 vampire.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot of X1s that I think this card is going to be just...
This is going to be, I think Dual Shot's going to be much better than Spark Mage's Gambit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's instant speed. Quilled Wolf is next. It's a 2/2 for 1 and a green. So it's your there's a lot of bears. There's a lot of 2/2 for 1 and a green in this format. But Quilled Wolf, not as good as Dark Thicket Wolf, has an ability that 5 and a green, it gets +4/+4 until end of turn. You can activate that as many times as you can pay 6 mana.
Yep.
So don't forget that, by the way, because we were talking on stream yesterday about Oran Reef Invoker.
Which is better.
Which is better.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, because
it gets +5/+5 and trample.
But it's 8 mana.
It's 8 mana,
that. But you can activate that more than once. And I was in a league game, and my opponent had this, and they'd just been ramping all game. This was a massive board stall. And I forgot that, of course, you can activate that more than once. So I planned out my blocks very carefully, and they activated Oran Reef Invoker, and I went, yes, that is what I expected you to do. And then they paid another 8 mana and activated Oran Reef Invoker again.
It's like,
and I was
12.
Oh, that's much larger than I had expected. So I'm not saying this is going to come up a lot, and the lack of trample makes it way less relevant. But
be wary.
If your opponent has 12 mana and you don't block the Quilled Wolf, you could be taking 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Gone, but not forgotten is the next card. 1 and a white for a sorcery. Put target card from a graveyard on the top or bottom of its owner's library, and put a 1/1 white flying spirit onto the battlefield.
All right.
I mean, white gets these kind of effects.
Yeah.
There was, what's the one from like Lorwyn Block where you blow away something out of their graveyard and get a 1/1 spirit?
I have no idea.
It was
What
for
did
a
I
hybrid
just say,
black.
Cam?
Beckon Apparition. Beckon Apparition.
Yeah, you got it. See, if I make fun of you, you immediately get it.
Get there. What I like about that is that you can. So, because Beckon Apparition exiles.
Yeah.
So in this case, you can either be like, I just want the spirit. I'm just going to take some card I don't care about from my graveyard, put it on the bottom of my deck. I'm not going to have to worry about it. Or later in the game, you can be like, I really need this card, and I'm okay with not drawing it now, right? So you can take your best card, put it on top, know that you're going to draw it next turn, and then you have a 1/1 to chump block with in the meantime.
Yeah, exactly. It's I wish you hadn't killed my Avacyn.
Yeah. I don't think this card's amazing.
I got my wish.
Yeah.
But
No,
I think it's
fine.
Yeah. Highland Lake, because every set needs a cycle of
Tap lands.
Uncommon mana fixing, and that is totally fine. So here's Highland Lake.
Neat.
Why not?
I like the art.
The art's really good.
Me too. Sinister Concoction is a single black mana enchantment, and for 1 black mana, and pay a life, and put the top card of your library into your graveyard, and discard a card, and sacrifice Sinister Concoction, destroy target creature.
I remember when this was spoiled, and I thought the colon was after black, pay 1 life.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, put the top card of your library into your graveyard. And I kept reading. I'm like, this has a lot of clauses.
Talk about delirium.
It's the concoction,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
It's
you have to assemble it.
No, it's
You
great.
need a black mana and a life, put the top card of your library to your graveyard, and the thing is,
I've newt.
because you do it in the order that it's listed, right?
Yeah.
You put the top card in, then you can choose what to discard.
Yep.
If you're looking for delirium.
Yep.
Then you have to sacrifice this, so there's an enchantment, and you get to destroy a creature at the end of it.
Yeah, no, I think this
I
card's
actually
sweet.
like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
a
I think
lot.
this card is sweet. I think this card enables delirium like nothing else in the set.
Yeah.
It kills a creature. Like it's just a win.
Yeah.
So many wins.
I'm a fan. A rare, big one. Angel of Deliverance is a 6/6 angel for 6 white. So 8 mana for a 6/6 flyer. That's it.
Yeah.
If you have delirium, though, whenever it deals damage, just damage,
Yeah.
if there are 4 or more card types among the cards in your graveyard, exile target creature and opponent controls.
That's very good.
Until when?
Forever.
Until the end of the game.
That's quite reasonable.
Yeah, this
whenever
card-
it deals damage, just period.
Yeah.
That seems sweet.
Not damage to a player, not
Yeah.
damage to a creature, just damage. Yeah, this card seems really good. It's still really expensive.
It's really
but
expensive. 8 mana is
I
hard
like
to
it.
get to.
Yeah.
I like it.
And because
flip.
every pack of Shadows of Innistrad has a transform card, double-faced card, we
Double-faced card.
have the Kessig Forge Master.
Who I really like.
So it's 2/1 for 1 and a red. That's already fine.
Yep.
That's a piker. We talked about that before. Whenever it blocks or becomes blocked by a creature, it deals 1 damage to that creature. If you remember from original Innistrad block, the Ashmouth Hound had a similar effect, which
Yep.
was like super duper first strike.
Firstest strike.
Yeah, firstest strike. Because it's not that it deals damage in the first strike step, it deals damage
Once it's blocked.
when blockers are declared.
Yeah.
So it is exactly the same as Ashmouth Hound. It's a 2/1, deals 1 damage to the creature. So you can't block it with a 1 toughness creature because it will just die before damage happens.
A 2 toughness creature trades, a 3 toughness creature trades.
Yeah.
You have to block with an X4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't attack into it with anything bigger than an X4.
Correct.
And because it is a werewolf, at the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast, transform Kessig Forgemaster into the Flameheart Werewolf, which is a 3/2, and says whenever Flameheart Werewolf blocks or becomes blocked by a creature, Flameheart Werewolf deals 2 damage to that creature, meaning this thing trades for something with 5 toughness.
I like how
this
it
card.
has 2 thumbs. She has 2 right thumbs.
What? But only 1 left hand.
You wanna get your mind blown? She has 2 thumbs when she's a human as well.
Oh. Well, that makes that
That
makes
has
sense.
to be like a thing from someone's mythologies
Dude,
or
stuff.
folklore.
Have you looked at people's hands in the art for this set?
Everything's kind of warped.
Stuff's effed up.
Neat.
The Manic Scribe,
Yeah.
who has the quills driven through her palms.
Yeah.
Her, I think it's her pinky fingers are
Yeah.
all wibbly and curly,
Oh.
like little tentacles.
Oh.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's her pinkies. They're extra long and they curl back in on themselves.
Creepy.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's super weird. Super weird. Anyway, yeah, thank you for noticing that because I did not notice that she has 2 thumbs. That's very strange. Why
Oh,
does she
what
have
was
2
this card
thumbs?
called in Origins? Acolyte?
Oh, what, Manic Scribe?
No. The one that deals 2 damage on a blocker or an attacker.
Yeah, the Acolyte, but it was I don't remember what it was an Acolyte of. It was the Acolyte of the Inferno. There we
Yeah.
go. Yeah, so it had Renown and it dealt 2, but this was whenever it becomes blocked.
Right.
It deals 2 damage to that creature. These
This is also...
Forgemaster and Flameheart both is blocks or becomes blocked.
Yeah.
So it's
Rad.
both axes.
I just take the white card.
the angel.
Yeah, it's just a giant bomby creature that's going to win me the game. So
Fair enough. Fair
that
enough.
card just seems ridiculous.
Man, I hadn't actually really read Sinister Concoction. That seems really sweet.
It's sweet.
Yeah, it's good.
I don't actually know if it's good, but it seems like it's kind of cool.
It's very inexpensive,
Yeah.
and you don't have to wait a turn. Like you
And you know what's great?
you only need 2 mana.
Yeah.
It's a
right.
turn 1 play, which keeps opponents from flipping werewolves,
Oh yeah.
which
Yeah.
can be relevant.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that card actually seems pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
it's sweet.
So yeah, last weekend we got to play some Shadows of Innistrad in the
first ever pre-release.
the first and last annual Shadows of Innistrad.
Yes.
pre-release. Maybe we'll get to do more pre-releases in the future, but they won't be Shadows of Innistrad, which is why I think Kathleen made that joke, the first and last annual. This was a sweet thing. Actually, James, you should talk about this for a bit, just sort of a preamble for the
Yeah,
for the
like
event.
we've been talking about ever since we moved into this new space, streaming more live Magic, and we talked about just holding our own pre-release, right? Like just get the product probably from WotC if possible, but if not, maybe from our comic or local game store if possible. Who knows? Regardless, get the product and hold our own little mini pre-release here in the office. And like set it up like a proper like 4-round pre-release and have like a feature match area and commentators and stuff like that. And at one point that kind of changed into this. I wonder if we can get the product a week early and do like a pre-release and actually use it as sort of allow WotC basically to use it as a marketing tool to get people hyped up for the pre-release. And I don't remember what, I could go look at my phone at some point, but I contacted Trick about this probably about a month ago, just on a random like Tuesday. I woke up and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna ask him. Like the worst he can say is no. The best case scenario is kind of what we ended up with, which was amazing. Like I figured maybe we could make this happen for Eldritch Moon in like 5 months or whatever it is, but you know, Shadows over Innistrad may be far-reaching. But later that day, he came back to me and he's like, yeah, this is pretty much like 98%. Like the next day, I was contacting Athena and Jimmy and Marshall and Kenji and telling them about it and inviting them down. And then basically by the end of the week, we had the 100% go ahead, which was amazing. Like I just didn't expect that to happen at all. So that's kind of how it came about. And it kind of went off exactly how we wanted it to be honest.
Yeah.
It happened so quickly that you almost think that Wizards had something similar in mind.
Almost, but like, yeah, I mean, from what I understand, everybody at WotC loved the idea when they heard it. because they love fresh new ideas.
I think we just happened to hit on a day when they were already talking about planning stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because it just happened. So
And then Trick was able to be like, 1 second.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
Stop the presses. I got an idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it turned out really well. I think the format was the best that we could do. I know that there are people who obviously would have liked to have seen, I don't know, like a loser's bracket. A lot of people were talking about that, but
Yep.
this thing ran for like 7.5 hours
Yeah,
on
so
our
that'd be
end.
tough.
So
It's a long day.
the seven streamed matches is enough.
Yeah.
We could theoretically do the loser bracket like off stream. People just play, and we could let you know who wins maybe next time. But I think we sort of.
I think so. Overall, the feedback was very, very positive. And
Absolutely.
Thank you all
Yeah.
so much. But yeah, the pieces of feedback that we've heard that we're going to be that we'll talk about if we get to do this again is maybe something involving a loser's bracket.
Yeah.
Showing something during the breaks.
Yeah.
Like recording deck techs off camera.
Yep.
With the other players and then showing that during the break. That's something that we might want to look into. We want to keep it moving.
Yeah.
So we'd want those deck techs to be like 6 minutes.
Oh,
like,
not even.
Yeah.
I'm
real
thinking
quick.
like 3 to 4 minutes.
And
I think we should
real
cut
quick.
promos.
Try to keep cut wrestling promos.
Yeah.
And try to keep the break shorter. But I mean, that's the thing is like someone was criticizing the length of the breaks, and I would, as a viewer, I would like shorter breaks. Having said that, our breaks averaged 5 to 10 minutes, which was long.
on the higher end. Like
On the higher end.
I would love them to be like 5 minutes is
But
is my
when you
ideal,
consider
in my
that we
opinion.
never took an extended break,
Yeah.
there was no lunch break in there because we had Paul got to take a break while Ian sat in for a bit, and it worked with people being off camera and everything. That it was consistent. There was no sort of like the breaks were so we could set up for the next match, not okay, that match is over and who knows when the next one's starting. It was like it'll start right away as soon as we get everything set up. So I felt like that was good, but I think we can.
We can absolutely.
I think
do
we can
better.
improve it.
But that's fine.
And that was most of the feedback people had.
Yep.
So that was good. I really
Yeah.
liked it. It was super, super fun. So should we talk about our decks?
Sure.
Yeah. What
Go
you
for
got,
it, Cam.
Okay, so I wound up being in red-green werewolves. And I opened my sealed pool and felt really not great about what I had opened so far and was trying to put together, like, maybe let's just run home to mama and play blue because I'm comfortable playing blue.
Yeah.
And I had like this weird blue-black build going on that didn't seem terribly powerful but could have done some neat stuff. And then I moved some things and found another pack that I'd forgotten about because I'd only opened 5 packs and felt that my sealed pool was really shallow. And so I opened that, and in that pack was Arlen Cord. Along with, I think, the enchantment that with Flash that buffs werewolves and wolves. And like just another
That was
like
the full
common
moons. It's the new full
yeah,
moon's rise.
Yeah, the analog of Full Moon's Rise. And then just another werewolf. And I'm like,
Get all that other crap
Yeah.
out of the way. We werewolves now.
yeah, we werewolves now. And it was fun. I would have liked some more, burn. But Arlen Cord is
Very
such
good.
a house.
I'm glad you got to play her on stream.
Yeah, she has 5 modes. That's a lot of modes. There's a shocking amount of decisions in what is really just a planeswalker who has several different ways of punching you right in the gut repeatedly.
What's up, Paul?
I was going to say, I know everybody, the first time you actually played, everybody in the chat was incredibly shocked. They were like,
really?
Green? What the heck's going on here?
Yeah. well,
Green, red, what?
That's
Well,
'cause
you play what you open.
That's because Cam played the pool he opened and not forcing what he wanted.
Yeah. But, people, I guess, impressed by your versatility, but surprised that you didn't go for the blue.
Yeah, well, I mean, you play what you open, right? And when you open Arlen Cord, you play Arlen Cord. I was a bit worried that she wouldn't be able to protect herself. Like, she generates a wolf and flips,
Yeah.
right? Like, so a 2/2 blocker, but Athena was on a Flyers plan. And as it turns out, Arlen Cord protects herself by killing your opponent
Good protection
in, like,
plan.
a turn or two.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when
Real
you...
good protection.
When you can play Arlen Cord, and this is not from the match that was on camera, it was from a game I was playing afterwards. When you can play Arlen Cord and you play the mythic elemental wolf, that you can discard cards to.
Actually, can we get Arlen on screen?
Yeah.
Screen.
Arlen Court gives things haste.
Say what?
Yeah. So her
She can give her +1 on the flip side.
her +1 on her front side.
Or front side. No,
is,
yeah,
is
+1
+2/+2, haste, and vigilance.
Yeah.
Haste seems relevant.
Yeah. So you can just like kill people out of nowhere, right? Like suddenly you're making, like in the werewolf deck, sometimes you're just making 7/7s, right? On turn 5, with the arsonists, the Gatstaff arsonists, right? And they just swing in and like they work the groin, right?
Work the groin.
And you keep up this blocker, and I don't think I used any of her other modes other than her front-facing plus ability. And that's probably wrong. I probably could have flipped her and then started lightning bolting things and making
It's important
wolves.
to note that you, because the card never leaves the battlefield, it does not get exiled when it flips. That
you don't get to lightning bolt 3 times and make 3 wolves.
Yeah, you don't get to use either side. Like, you don't get to use her more than once, period, in a turn.
Yeah.
So you can't play her, make a wolf, transform her, and then use one of her other abilities. That doesn't work. Because it's confusing. In original Innistrad, the cards didn't get exiled either. It was in
Origins.
Origins when the legendary creatures were exiled and returned transformed. That's where... Because if you didn't play an original Innistrad, you would be forgiven for thinking that all the transform cards work like that, where they get exiled first. But that is not the case. Just the weird ones in Magic Origins. But,
yeah. So she's a house. What else was really fun in my pool? Werewolves are neat.
Yeah, werewolves are super neat.
They force you into this interesting, like, kind of attrition-y strategy, I feel, where you're playing, like, you're kind of on curve, where, you know, you play, like, your Lamholt Pacifist on turn 2, and then you play your 3-drop werewolf and your 4-drop werewolf, and you're kind of, like, threatening to do a lot of things with your deck until your opponent runs out of cards, and then your werewolves flip and you murder them.
Yeah. I mean, that's I remember this from the original Innistrad, when you're playing against the werewolf player, and they have their board, and you've been sort of going back and forth, and you're both developing your board, and then you pass the turn to them, and they draw, and then they go, and then all their stuff gets bigger, and you're like, oh no.
Gotta play 2 spells. Gotta play 2 spells. Gotta play 2 spells.
And you often can't.
Yeah, and they do that when you are low on cards.
Yep.
Right? And if you draw a land, you are dead.
Yep.
If you draw a land when you have 1 card in hand against the werewolf deck, you are just a dead person. And in the interim, like, all of the werewolves in this set are pretty decent creatures when they are not flipped.
Yeah.
Like, they are totally fine vanilla creatures for the most part.
I really like, you mentioned Lamholt Pacifist. We did some playing around off camera, and I had Lamholt Pacifist and then Thalia's Lieutenant. And when you play Thalia's Lieutenant, which I really like this card. This card's a rare, but I really like it because she's good at different points in the game. Because she has two different abilities. One is whenever you play a human, you put a +1/+1 counter on her. Or when you play her, you put a +1/+1 counter on every other human.
Yeah, that's really
cool. If you play her on turn 2 and then you play a bunch of humans, she gets huge. If you play a bunch of humans, then you play her on turn 5, they all get huge. So you play Lamholt Pacifist, you play Thalia's Lieutenant on turn 3.
Yep.
You put a counter on the Pacifist, and you then control a creature with power 4 or greater.
Yep.
Because the Pacifist doesn't say another creature. So if the Pacifist is 4 power, Pacifist can attack.
Yep. Yeah,
I thought that was a neat interaction.
The Pacifist is a really good creature.
Yeah.
There are some really interesting interactions in the werewolf deck.
Yeah.
Like the guy that draws you cards on your opponent's. If they play play spells on your turn.
I want to say Hermit of the Natterknolls.
That sounds correct.
Yeah, that card's ridiculous.
And the Cult of the Waxing Moon.
Cult of the Waxing Moon is really good as well.
It's not, that card's not a werewolf
but
themselves.
It makes wolves when you transform cards.
Yeah, it's whenever a card you control transforms into a non-human, which is relevant because you have a lot of cards, you have a lot of townsfolk, for example, in white, that turn into different angrier townsfolk.
Yes.
But that doesn't count. These guys only care about werewolves.
Yeah.
There's a couple other cards, like my promo card actually, that will also trigger this, which is kind of funny. So my promo card that I opened was Westvale Abbey.
Oh yeah.
Which I love this card.
I mean, if you transform Westvale Abbey, you don't
get a wolf.
you don't really care about the 2/2 wolf.
I care. Okay, so Westvale Abbey taps for colorless. You can tap and pay some life, and you get a 1/1. You get a little
Five.
Yeah, you pay 5 and a life, and you get a 1/1. Or you pay 5 and sacrifice 5 creatures, which is this cult. And Westvale Abbey transforms into Ormondal, Profane Prince.
This card is so
a
ridiculous.
9/7 flying lifelink indestructible haste.
Haste.
That means you can play. That means you can build up. You can hold Westvale Abbey, build up your board, and then in the same turn you can go Westvale Abbey, sacrifice it, sacrifice these creatures, flip it, hit you for 9 lifelink in the air.
Yep.
That's good.
I want to play this with the card that makes the devils, the 4 devils.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah.
You sacrifice 4 devils, maybe 5, deal 5 damage alone with that. Flip this, attack for 9.
Man, Devil's
Yeah.
Playground.
Devil,
So,
yeah, that's it.
The great thing about Westvale Abbey is that you can play it in any pre-release deck that you build.
Yep.
Yep.
I ended up because you talk about building the deck you open.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I was all over the place. I initially built a white-green deck, a white-green sort of largely humans deck. And I looked at it, and so many of my white cards had Delirium, and I had no way of enabling Delirium. I had I want to say Moorland Drifter. Does that sound right? It's a 2/2 spirit for 1 and a white, and that's it. But if you have Delirium, it gets flying.
Oh, yeah.
And I had the Reaper of Flight Moonsilver, which is the 3/3 white angel flyer. And if you have Delirium, you can sack a creature and give it +2/+1. I can't remember the name of this one. It's the 3/2. It's a 3/2 for 3. You get first strike if you have Delirium, right?
Yeah.
And so I had all these cards, and I had no way of doing this. I had like 1 sorcerer speed removal spell. I had like 2 instants. And that's it. And I'm like, do I just run these 2 wasted landscapes and try to like hope to get there? And I wasn't really sure. And so then I looked at maybe doing a blue-white Flyers deck. And that deck actually looked pretty cool. But I looked at my red-black, and I was like, there's definitely a possibility that decks could be very, very aggressive. And I think this blue-white Flyers deck will just die before it gets to do anything. Because most of its land, or most of its creatures were higher cost.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to die too quickly. And so then I looked at what I could build out of my red-black, and see, this is what happens because it's the pre-release, right? It's a new format. I'm not sure how Delirium's going to work. I'm not sure how these cards are going to synergize. So what I do know is how to punch things, right?
Yeah.
Aggro always does well early in a format.
Yep.
And so I was like, well, I guess I'm going to go into red-black aggro. Also because I had 3 black rares, some of which are not actually great for an aggro deck. I had Ever After, which is you get to bring 2 creatures back from the graveyard to the battlefield. And 6 mana in an aggressive deck is actually not
Probably
great.
not very good.
This one, though, Under the Floorboards, you had one of these too, right?
Yep.
Under the Floorboards is sweet. 3 black for, you get 3 2/2 zombies tapped, and you gain 3 life.
Yeah.
But the madness cost is X black. So if you pay 3 for X, you get exactly what's printed on this card.
Yeah.
But you can do it for 1. You can pay 3 and get a zombie and gain a life, and that's not great, but it's something. Or you can pay 5 and get 5 zombies and gain 5 life, and then you're just winning the game anyway. But with madness, you can do it at instant speed on your opponent's turn. So I had this card showed up in a couple decks on the day, and this guy's sweet. Insolent Neonate. This like Alucard looking swarthy vampire. So he's a 1/1 for a single red mana with menace. And he has this activated ability, discard a card and sacrifice him to draw a card. So I was able to go, all right, end of your turn, sacrifice Neonate, discard Under the Floorboards, pay its madness, get 3 tapped zombies, gain 3 life,
Yeah.
draw a card.
Yeah.
Untap, I have 3 2/2s ready to attack you.
Yeah. That's real good.
It was super good. And I never got to use this guy, sadly. I also had the Elusive Tormentor, which is so it's a 4/4 for 4 in black. So just this brick, which is sweet. And you pay 1 and discard a card to transform Elusive Tormentor. And then they transform into the Insidious Mist, because the vampire turns into mist and creeps through the window. The Insidious Mist, I love. This is the flavor of this card is that you can't interact with it in any way because it's mist, and how do you possibly fight mist? It's got hexproof, it's indestructible, it can't block, and it can't be blocked. It basically doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It only exists as far as game mechanics are concerned.
Yep. Right.
Because when you attack and it's not blocked, which it can't be because it is mist, you can pay 3 mana, and if you do, it turns back into this 4/4 and goes boomf and hits them for 4. And then you can pay a mana and discard it at instant speed again. Then you just leave it as the 4/4, leave 1 mana up and have a card in hand.
Yep.
And your opponent goes, all right, well, I'm going to kill that. And you just go, nope.
Yeah.
Back to mist.
Yeah.
I love the Tormentor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Skin Invasion did a lot of fun work over the day on in a couple different people's decks. It's the single red mana enchantment. Enchanted creature attacks each combat if able, and when it dies, returns Skin Invasion to the battlefield transformed as a 3/4 insect horror named Skin Shredder. First of all, it's still wearing the guy's face, which I love. And second of all, this works really well with Insolent Neonate. I did this correctly in an earlier game, and then later in the day I got tired and I did this wrong, and I put it on the wrong creature. But so you put this on your Insolent Neonate, and it must attack each turn, but that's fine because the Neonate is a 1/1 with Menace. But then even on turn 2 or probably during their turn when it comes back to you for turn 3, like turn 1 Neonate, right? Turn 2 put Skin Invasion on the Neonate.
Yep.
You're in for 1 point of damage there. You pass the turn back. Then on their turn, discard a card, sacrifice Neonate, draw a card, and get a 3/4, untap, laugh all the way to the bank. Like this Skin Invasion actually seems really sweet.
I also really like the flavor of this card. I think this hints to. I don't know. Maybe this card is maybe the flavor of this card is nothing. But maybe this hints at something else that's going on on Innistrad.
Yeah.
Maybe these guys are related to it because there is reference in other cards in the flavor text to there's more in their glowing red eyes than just madness. Right?
Yeah.
Hunger? Maybe they're just hungry.
Maybe.
Maybe we should just take them to Arby's.
A mite peckish. Oh, heads up. If you are... you probably won't be able to hear this before the pre-release, but early in the format, just watch out for Voldaran Duelist.
Yeah.
Because
I highly recommend
this stole some games.
You watch out for Voldaran Duelist.
So it's a 3/2 for 3 and a red with haste. When it enters the battlefield, target creature can't block this turn. So if you leave back 1 blocker, not only can it not block, they also have another 3 power coming at you. Very scary. I love also in the art, the guy's just throwing a weighted cloak over you.
Yep.
Or maybe the weighted cloak's over him. I don't know. He's stabbing you. Anyway, the point is...
They are left-handed.
Oh yeah, the sword's coming. Yeah, I just noticed that.
Point is, it's sweet. What was your deck like, James?
All right, so I also played red. Shocker, I know. Let's talk about the 5 reasons that I played red-black.
Right.
Number 1, if I can get this working, Olivia.
Oh, here.
Yep.
Mobilized for war.
I can actually...
I guess you can click and then show, and then I don't know if that's going to work. Holy crap, it works. All right,
the age we live in.
Just work your way up, I guess.
Yeah.
So Olivia Mobilized for War. I opened this card. It's one of the cards I was most excited to play when it was spoiled, and I was so giddy when I opened it in the first pack of my pre-release set pool.
Can
attest
attest
like,
to.
Done. I'm just playing red-black. I don't care what else is in. And this is the reason why I ended up in red. This card's so good. 1 black-red for a flying 3/3 Vampire Knight. When
I'm done. I'm on.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm signed up.
When another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may discard a card. Okay, there's madness in the set. I'm listening. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. It gains haste until end of turn and becomes a vampire in addition to its other types. I think I did that every single time.
Ew, card disadvantage.
Every time this card was on the battlefield and I played a creature, I ditched a card. Oftentimes it was with madness. Often I could just give, and then I could give that creature or another creature the +1/+1 counter and give it haste. Oh, this card is so good. I love it so much. It's mythic, so you're probably not going to play it very often, but if you get the chance, I highly recommend it.
So you also had an Under the Floorboards.
I also had Under the Floorboards. I think it was... I ditched this card to Olivia at one point, which felt really
feels
good.
good.
Yeah, so like I played a creature and I ditched this and I cast it for its madness cost of X3. I gained some life. I got some zombies. Felt really good. I like this card a lot. Graham just talked about it, but it seems like it's going to be sweet. Markov Dread Knight is a card I didn't actually get to play with very often. It's a 5-mana 3/3 flying vampire knight, 3 black. Which is not, that's okay. Whatever, that's not very good. But for 2 and a black, you discard a card, Hello Madness, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Markov Dread Knight. This card seems, again, I didn't get a chance to actually play with it very often when in my deck, but...
On the turn it gets to attack, you can make it a 5/5.
You can make it a 5/5 and discard a card to Madness, and it's a mess.
We could make it a 7/7, because if you played on curve...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you draw a land, you could do that twice in the next turn.
Yeah, it seems really good, but I didn't really get a chance to try it out. Burn from Within, it's Fireball. That you don't need to know anything other than that.
It's Fireball.
It's Fireball.
This guy looks like he was drawn by Rob Liefeld. He's barrel-chested Captain America. Look at how...
Really is, yeah.
Does this guy do anything other than just bench press things?
I guess not.
But this card was All-Star, and then finally, this was my pre-release,
Yeah.
it was a Gear?
Gyre
Reach Bandit. 2 and a red for a 3/2 human rogue werewolf. It has haste. Awesome. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform it to the Vilden Pack Alpha, which reads, whenever a werewolf enters the battlefield under your control, you may transform it. That's really good.
So you just get to play a werewolf.
And it just immediately comes in as its often, and I think always, just better side.
Yeah.
So... yeah, this card was a complete all-star as well. I lost in that first round to Marshall. I played a bunch more games throughout the day and just crushed with my deck. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
But, man, red, I feel like I'm going to be playing a lot of red-black in this set. Those are my 2 favorite colors, number 1, number 2. They switch back and forth pretty often, but they are my 2 favorites, so I just love them so much, and I think they're really good in Shadows over Innistrad.
Unrelated to any of that,
Over Innistrad, sorry.
Cam, I wanted to mention we have our River Wheel Aerialists of the set.
Oh, we do? Have we settled?
I think so, because I can't imagine a card name in the set that is more challenging to pronounce than
Silberland Snapper.
Silberland.
Silberland.
Just you.
Silberland Snapper.
You say Silberland, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you look at the word, and you want to say like
Silverland.
Silverland or
Siblerland?
Siblerland?
Just call him Snap Daddy.
Snap Daddy.
Like I
That's a big turtle.
I see like these letters and I keep wanting to say Silumgar.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
right?
yeah, wow.
Like,
damn it, now I do.
Yeah.
I didn't see that until you just mentioned it. You
Turt Reynolds.
jerk. Turt Reynolds. Oh, dear.
I want to do.
Silberland.
We should do a podcast just talking about cards with awesome flavor. From this set.
I
Yeah.
think we could do that pretty easily.
Like the skeleton key.
I only just noticed that.
Yeah.
They finally get to print a card called Skeleton Key, and it just gets you in there.
yeah.
Yeah.
You just get right in there. It's great. Anyway, but yeah, that was the pre-release.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. I
yeah.
hope we get to do it again.
Man, me
Devil
too.
tokens. Very
Oh,
good.
yeah.
They're so good.
Much better than you would think.
They get to trade for tutus.
Yeah. Or multiple X ones.
Yeah. Real good. Put 2 of them in front of the neonate
yeah.
with menace, and it can only kill one of them. And so one of them lives, and then the other one can kill something else, or just go to the dome, or
Yeah.
what? Yeah, it's weird. Like
2 of them can kill an X4.
like we've had Goblin Arsonist since original Zendikar. Like a 1/1 that when it dies pings something is not like a new thing.
Yeah.
But for some reason, a card that is able to generate multiples of those at once,
it's really good.
turns out is actually very good.
Yeah, if you can get multiple playables off of 1 card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of them is instant speed, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah.
The one that makes 2?
Yeah. Remember that one's instant speed. Don't do what I did, which is play it main phase, so your opponent can be like, oh, you have 2 blockers. And then attack anyway.
Devils.
What else makes them? There's Devil's Playground, which makes 4.
Yeah, there's the one that makes 2, and that's it.
Is there? That's it? That's the only thing that makes them?
I went through after the pre-release
want
looking
more.
for more devil tokens.
I hope there's more
Hopefully we
in the
get
next set.
something. Hopefully we get a
I want a creature that makes them.
a
Bloodline Keeper for...
not a bloodline keeper, but a what was the card from Dark Ascension? It made 2 spirits and then flashback for 2 more spirits.
Lingering Souls?
Lingering Souls for these
For these guys?
no.
Oh, God.
Like not obviously not that using
Yeah.
the mechanics of whatever of Eldritch Moon, but an equivalent kind of card.
Lingering Idiots. Oh, that'd be great.
That's sweet.
Like
Anyway.
because like there were spirit generators in Innistrad,
Yeah.
but this was the premier one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we hope
So-
that you had fun at your pre-release, because you'll probably be hearing this after your pre-release. And I'm so excited to play more of this set.
It needs to come out to Magic Online. That's what I want. We just got to hold off a couple more weeks.
Oh, and they've changed how they're doing pre-releases on Magic Online.
Yep.
And I'm really happy about that. So it used to be, or it is, I guess now, it was for Oath of the Gatewatch, that you had the pre-release weekend, and then you had like 2 weeks of release queues that were different in some way.
Well, they weren't though. Like they were just
In a different area?
they were. That's the biggest difference is they were in a different area.
Yeah,
They were
anyway.
the same. Yeah.
So now, when the set comes to Magic Online, they're doing pre-release weekend, and then
Like
normal queues.
The big change is that pre-release sealed is now a league.
Yeah!
That's the big change.
Yeah.
That's the one that actually matters.
I'm super
So
excited
it
about
means
that.
You get to just go through.
Do you
your
know how
5
many
matches.
pre-releases I can do now?
Yeah.
It's going to be really,
Well,
really
when I
irresponsible.
5-0 all my pre-releases, then you can just chain them and build up tickets and go infinite
story.
on Sealed League as long as you can 5-0, which shouldn't be hard.
Right, yeah,
because
just
these cards
5-0.
are awesome.
Just win every game.
Yeah,
Every game.
It's not that...
get good.
Yeah, just get
get good.
Just get good. Thanks for listening, everybody. We hope that you've enjoyed this week's podcast. As always, Tap Tap Concede and everything else is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. Please check that out. It means a lot. And we will talk to you all next time.
Toodles.
Bye.